Hi guys, I'm Kerry and I am so excited as today I got to interview Channel Mum's very own health visitor and sleep expert Maggie Fisher. This was part of the Channel Mums Meet the Expert series. I got to ask her so many interesting questions all about crying, feeding and mum's mental health. All the questions that you guys really wanted to know. So let's take a look and I hope you enjoy it. Hi Maggie, thank you so much for joining me today. So firstly, you are a health visitor, and I know when I had my children, I had my health visitor visit me 3 or 4 times when my baby was first born. But as your role, how do I know when to come to you? How do I know when I need your help?
All parents there's basically 5 mandated contacts that they should be getting. You should see your health visitor antenatally between the 10th and 14th day, 6 to 8 weeks, 9 months, and then 2.5 years. Having said that, it's the bare minimum.
Yeah.
If you feel you need a bit of support, or your health visitor feels you might be struggling with sleep or feeding or something, then they may well visit you more frequently. We're also on the end of the phone, so when you get your red book, our phone number is in that. So if you're ever worried and you're not sure, please pick up the phone. And also at Channel Mum, I'm there in the support group, so they can access me that way as well.
When we told our Channel Mums that I was meeting you today, we were overwhelmed by questions that everyone wanted to ask you. So we had to narrow it down to kind of 3 main topics to talk to you about today. And the first one I want to start off with is crying. How can they differentiate between a baby crying because they're distressed or they're hurting from someone who's just bored?
If a baby is in pain, often it's a really high-pitched cry, or they just scream and you sort of, everything you try, nothing works. So you can probably surmise that they're in pain. But they cry for all sorts of reasons. So it could be hunger, it could be boredom, it could be they're too hot, they're too cold, they're in pain. So, you know, there's a myriad of reasons. So it is a bit of detective work, trying to work out what it is. And often it's the process of trial and error, elimination. And getting to know your baby. When a baby cries, there are lots of different things that you can do to help soothe them. Some things will work some of the time, but very rarely does all things work all of the time. So some of the things you can do, often if a baby's in pain, sucking relieves that pain, so they can suck your finger or on a dummy. That really, really helps. It calms them down. Rocking them, swaying them, singing to them, lullabies, calming music. The other thing that works quite well is the shh noise, which is the white noise. So often the singing, the swaying and the shh, making the shushing noise in their ears helps. Sometimes you perhaps just have to put your baby down and take a break because it is exhausting to listen to a baby crying all the time.
So moving on, we also want to ask you about feeding. So at Channel Mum, we, embrace everything. We don't tell someone breast is best or bottle is best. We say whatever suits you is, the best thing to do for you and your child. But we'd love to hear from a health visitor point of view what your kind of opinions are when it comes to feeding.
Right, well, I think whatever choice a parent makes is what we would absolutely support. Fed is best. So again, it's very much about learning your baby's cues, getting to know your baby. Often a baby cries and you think, oh, I'll feed them because they need feeding, but sometimes it doesn't. So checking the sucking reflex, the strength of that sucking reflex will tell you whether it's real hunger or they just want to suck or they're feeling.
That's a really good tip to know, because I actually really wish I'd known that when my kids were younger, because I used to do that. They used to cry and I think, oh, they must be hungry. And I think a lot of parents feel like that too. So knowing that little tip for the sucking reflex, so you just pop your finger in their mouth and if they suck really hard, that means they are genuinely hungry. And if they don't, then it means something else is maybe the problem.
And if they're hungry, nothing but milk is going to satisfy them. When you're feeding, it's important to be relaxed, to make yourself comfortable. If you're breastfeeding, make sure that you've got water or a drink next to you, so fluid out. You need to take fluid in. And so long as they're gaining weight and they're having plenty of wet and dirty nappies, and you can see that they're thriving, then I would say don't worry.
So if you're ever concerned about your children and you think they're not thriving, they're not gaining weight, what would you say to that parent to do?
Well, I think the first thing I would say as a health visitor is actually to take them to the clinic and get them weighed and have a chat with your health visitor, or if you're worried, phone them up and get them to do a home visit. You can also come into our Channel Mum support group. I'm there and we've got our lovely Channel Mum trained parent supporters. and ask for help there. But don't ever worry about it. Seek help. Help is out there.
So one of the main questions that kept coming up was obviously around sleep and how to get your baby to sleep through the night. But we have got a whole series coming up with you where you're going to talk us through all these different sleep tips and things you can give us. But in linking with that is mum's mental health, when obviously they suddenly go from having lots of sleep to having hardly any sleep when their baby comes along. What advice could you give to new mums, or even mums that have older children that are still struggling with sleep? How can they get some help and support when it comes to their mental health?
Yeah. If your baby is waking you up a lot at night, then actually you do need to sleep in the day when your baby sleeps. And take all offers of help. Let people take the children off your hands, and when the baby naps and the day you nap, let people help you out with housework, laundry, cooking meals, etc. There's a huge change that happens when you have a baby. That transition to parenthood for baby makes 3, but your relationship with your partner. So that's quite important that you support each other. It's normal to feel irritable with one another. There's a huge increase in conflict that arises when you have a baby during the first year. 92% of couples have more arguments. So if you know that beforehand, you're sort of prepared for it, and it's not quite such a shock. When you don't get enough sleep, it affects your mental health enormously. It in fact affects your physical health and your emotional health as well. So talking to friends, supportive friends, coming over to our Channel Mum support group for help and support. You've got your health visitor. If you're really feeling low, you can do our Channel Mum quiz, and you can talk to your GP and health visitor. Those close, confiding, supportive relationships are really, really important when you're struggling. And also, it's important that you look after yourself, that you eat well. Yeah. Because, if you're not eating properly, that affects your mood and your mental health as well. So trying to eat healthily and nutritiously, sometimes really hard just to find time to feed yourself.
Definitely, and you forget about yourself. You look after, you're so into looking after this tiny little baby that you forget about yourself. But I think what's also really important is for mums to know that they're not the only ones going through this. There's so many other parents out there who are in exactly the same position, but it's just, first of all, coming out with saying it, because sometimes you think you're failing if you say it out loud, but really you're not.
I think the other thing that lots of mums do, and I know this as a health visitor, is we put on a brave face.
Oh yeah,
and everyone says, how are you? I'm fine.
Yeah.
You're not fine.
No.
But we find it hard to admit that actually it's tough, and we're not enjoying this as much as we thought we would. And actually you might even feel that you don't like your baby very much, especially if they're keeping you awake all night. So, and again, those feelings are normal.
Natural, exactly.
And it's important to talk about how you're feeling and get support with that. And know you're not alone.
Maggie, thank you so much for meeting me today. It's been brilliant. I've learned so much, and I hope everyone at home has too. So if you're at home watching this and you need some help, then please head on over to our Channel Mum support group, where you will find Maggie there, as well as loads of other trained parent helpers. Thank you so much for watching today, and we will see you again soon. Bye.
Bye.